In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight, and sitting across from me is the one, the only, Cash Kraus.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Is it going?
Per usual, it's going. We are real close to the holiday season, Cash.
We are. What is it, a week away? 10 days?
Yeah.
7 days?
I don't know. I lost count.
Honestly, before you said that, had no idea it was December. Completely unaware.
Yeah, it's been one of those years.
It's been one of those years. But thank God, that's good news, because that means this year is almost fucking over. Which
I guess. I mean, we're going to get another year of this.
I know. Yeah, people are praying like 2021, like the second that clock hits midnight.
The clouds part, the sun comes out.
Roads turn to gold. Universal health care.
Yeah, right. In a matter of just 3 months. None of this is happening.
No, but, there's some other shit, though, that went wrong in 2020 that doesn't need to happen in 2021. A lot of celebs dying, a lot of natural disasters. Those things don't need to happen.
They don't need to.
The COVID is probably going to carry over. It's probably not at midnight. The disease is just going to die out.
Yeah.
But, there's some other shit, like countries just exploding, blowing up.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Probably doesn't need to happen.
No.
But 2021, 2020 was supposed to be so promising.
It was.
It's like 2020, that's the year. 2020 vision. It's some bullshit, but.
I won on my 2020 bingo card, though.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think I got a blackout on my 2020.
Yeah. Well, I had Murder Hornets on mine, so that's what sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, Murder Hornets. Those were a late addition to 2020. We had a little foreshadowing early in the year about Murder Hornets.
We did.
Then everyone was like, "Well, fuck, those aren't coming." Came back strong late in the season. Now we got Murder Hornets back in our in our state.
We do.
The only state that has Murder Hornets.
Hopefully this winter is going to freeze them to death, though. Did you see the Northeast? They've got like 25, 30 inches of snow right now. It's wild. I'm like, geez,
yeah, the storm of the century, this thing. In 90 years, there hasn't been a storm like that.
Brutal. Yeah. Glad we're not on the east side.
Only thing that can make this 2020 worse would be a big old batch of gremlins, because those fuckers...
They're pretty menacing.
They're messing with everything. They're cutting your fucking brake lines. They're doing hazardous shit.
Dare I say agents of chaos.
Yeah, they're turning your gas on when you're there.
Cute little fuzzy things up until they turn into gremlins.
Yeah, and it's not like fun, mischievous gremlins. They're looking to kill you.
No, they literally
seriously maim you. But, that is what we're talking. It is close to Christmas, so we thought we might as well do a Christmas movie. And my favorite kind of Christmas movie are Christmas horror films. We did Krampus. When did we do Krampus? 2 years ago?
We never reviewed that.
Oh, we didn't?
No.
I thought we did. I thought we reviewed it.
We were going to review it and never ended up.
Well, that's another one of my favorite holiday horror films.
Wow, it's up there, huh?
Well, there's not very many good holiday horror films.
No, not horror specifically. There's a lot of good holiday films. Though.
Absolutely, but there's not a lot of good holiday horror, which I love. It's my favorite kind of holiday film is the horror genre. But Krampus, we have to do Krampus. It's really good for that type of film. But we're not doing Krampus today. Today we're doing Gremlins, presented by Steven Spielberg.
Yes. Presented, not directed.
In the 80s, they made that very clear.
He wanted to plaster that man's name everywhere.
If it's going to get asses in seats.
Absolutely.
But he didn't even produce it. Executive produced it, which pretty much meant he got it made. Right. He gave funding, and he told probably the execs to, I'm Steven Spielberg. He said, get this shit going.
Yeah.
And when Steven Spielberg tells you to do something, you don't think twice.
No, it's one of those Tom Cruise situations where you don't want him to freak out on you on set.
Yes, although he was heavily involved in some of this, and he did make some bad decisions. He did tell director Joe Dante to do some things, and Joe Dante said, no, I can't do it that way. And it ended up being better. But a lot of the shit that he added in, Spielberg, made the film a better film. Originally, Gizmo was also going to be Spike, just one character. And Spielberg was like, no, you got to have one good guy.
Spike or Stripe? The
Stripe.
leader? Yeah, Stripe.
Fucking Spike or Stripe.
Spike. Well,
Yeah, they're
I
fucking
do
great.
love-
I'm sure there's a Spike somewhere
there's gotta
running
be a
around.
Spike. Maybe in the Bad
thousands.
Batch sequel, Gremlins 2.
Oh man, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I,
Gremlins 2, the Bad Batch.
Growing up watching this really does withstand the test of time, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because when I was a kid, I was fascinated with this movie. I loved Gremlins growing up as a kid. I wasn't initially allowed to watch it when I was like 8 or 9, but eventually when I hit that 12, 13 age, I did watch it and I loved it.
This is my favorite kind of film to watch growing up because it's that kind of film that makes your parents' heads kind of explode. Like it's cute. You can almost convince your parents, no, they're just little dolls or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when you watch it, it's fucking violent.
Super violent. And it was supposed to be more violent.
Oh, much more.
original
And you can kind of
screenplay
tell. You can kind of tell that
yeah.
it was supposed to be.
The mom's head was supposed to be cut off by the gremlin, and he was supposed to toss it down the stairs.
Yeah.
Before they did a rewrite to that. That would have been rated R.
Well, one of them was one of the gremlins, when the mom stabs all of them, was supposed to be like, and take the knife out of him.
jeez.
like screaming. Yeah.
That would have been funny.
And it's funny because you can, if you look closely enough in the shot where the mom throws the gremlin into the microwave. You can see in the background a gremlin pulling just barely pulling the knife out, because that shot was still a shot, but they ended up using it. But yeah, it was supposed to be really violent. Written by Chris Columbus.
Chris Columbus, not to be confused with
By his
America's
great
discovery of America. Christopher
I wouldn't call him
Columbus.
America's. He was Italian. So yeah.
No, discovering of America.
Yeah, but
is what I said in parentheses.
But Chris Columbus, yeah, he of course directed Home Alone's.
Yep. Both of them. Yeah.
Both. Yeah, not all of them though. There's like 8 Home
There
Alones
are.
now. Not all starring Macaulay Culkin still, which would be amazing if they were. Him as
like
40 still
40-year-old.
being left at home with his family.
Like at some point, like this guy's gonna.
Well, by the second film, he should have been taken away.
He probably should have.
Someone should have called
Negligence.
CPS or CPC, Child Protective Services. Yeah, not good parenting. But yeah, this is a film that you could try to convince your parents to let you watch. And there's a few select fucking films like that that were supposed to be kids' film but are very adult.
Yep.
Dark Crystal is one of them, where that was marketed as kind of a kids' film, but very dark and very violent. And
Might
there's-
I add, just a travesty, Netflix did not renew Dark Crystal Season 2. I have to add that.
But this film, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Dark Crystal, those were all films that were supposed to be quote unquote marketed as kids, but were very adult. And that's why I think I liked them so much, because they weren't dumbed down or anything. You felt like the people making the film were taking even the child audience serious,
Yeah.
They're still, and kids, I'm 100%. And that's why I liked Tim Burton's stuff originally, was all because it was claymation. People thought that it was for kids, but it all was very, very dark. And that's the best kind of, I don't like to call them kids film. I like to call them family films, because they're for everyone, not just for kids.
Yeah, and the thing with these kind of films is like they do a very good job of balancing the horror with comedy. Where again, and we talk about the rating thing because of this film and Indiana Jones: Temple of Doom, they had to make the PG-13 rating.
Yeah,
right.
they only
It was
had
just
PG,
and R up until that point.
Which is wild. Jaws was PG. We bring that up a lot. That didn't make a new rating.
No, it didn't. The
They
blood.
couldn't- in the 70s, they weren't even thinking about it.
No, they weren't. Like, kids can see
What
it. Whatever.
child dies in that film?
It does. It gets eaten by a shark, which is mortifying for a child.
I think it's the first. It's like the second death.
It is.
Is the child being eaten?
And then the grieving mother
PG,
slapping.
just parental guidance.
Yeah, just minor
You can't,
parental guidance
just
here.
send them on their way. They'll be fine. But yeah, Temple of Doom. I mean, yeah, someone gets his heart yanked down that.
Definitely should be PG-13, that film. But they do a good job of balancing these two where it wasn't overly horrifying to where a kid couldn't watch it and have fun with it. But it also, like, the comedic elements were hilarious. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is the bar scene when they're all, like, smoking cigarettes and one's got the robber outfit with the gun.
Yeah.
For me, this is the one movie that can get away with it because it's so absurd already. Like Gremlins running around and doing these things. Like, it's just funny.
At first, you have to just completely believe that this kid's, Zach Galligan's dad, just wandered into this fucking. For one, he fought, which. It's written so perfect for a dad character because he's 100% oblivious and a little racist to everything.
I would say so.
Just spot on, I would say, for most who just don't know how to handle an Asian person in their presence. He gave you a bad case of that dragon breath.
Yeah,
the Asian
guy's like, who the fuck is this guy? Can you leave my shop immediately?
Oh, that subtle racism is what I love.
Well, and then how about the guy who's like, those damn foreigners, everything's American made.
Oh, you gotta get yourself a Kentucky Harvester. He says it like 5 times. Kentucky Harvester. I love it.
Says Gremlins are in everything.
These damn foreign cars. He says it again. It's a fucking VW.
The Germans are pretty good at making cars. Come on, pal. I mean, just get over it.
Gotta get yourself a Kentucky Harvester. And he's like, I don't know where the town's at, but that guy's like Boston accent.
Yeah, definitely.
I have no idea. I don't think it's an East Coast town, but that guy's has a Boston accent.
I love going back to these films in the 80s, mid 80s, early 90s too, because you always know every single time it's just right in your face. After Back to the Future, oh, okay, that was filmed on Universal Studios backlot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the town.
Well, Spielberg especially, that was practically his fucking home.
His home, yeah. That's the only place where they shot.
Yeah, but yeah, you have to completely believe that this guy pretty much discovered a completely new species of animal, and no one's batting an eye at this. My dad brings me home. What is it? A breed between like a koala and a dog. It speaks. It sings.
It talks.
You can't let it see sunlight. Can't let it eat after midnight, which pretty much every time is after midnight. The entire day is after midnight. That's what
never made any sense with this movie. And again, I can't defend my belief.
Every time is after midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, and all this crazy shit, can't get it wet, not even to drink. A new animal that doesn't need water.
Yeah. Should raise some red flags.
Call Nat Geo. Call Discovery Channel. Call the fucking news. You're going to make a lot of fucking money off this new species you just found. Yeah. So you got to completely kind of...
It's got to be an alien because everything that sustains life has to have water.
Yeah. So, but you just believe it because it's in the 80s for some reason, 1984. And you just, for me, it's I don't know. These people are kind of, I guess you can say dim-witted. Well, they're just innocent, you know? I think... They're very, very innocent.
Well, Joe Dante says, I have no idea how this movie made money.
Let me tell you, Joe Dante, Steven Spielberg. That's how the movie made money.
Yeah.
But, it was a very successful film. But, so if you believe... So once you get past that, and it sets that up 5 minutes in, then you're set up to believe absolutely anything. Yeah. But it's good enough to where that doesn't ruin the film at all. You know, you just fucking go along with the ride because the ride is so much fun.
It is fun
the entire time.
This movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you don't mind it, but yeah, the dad, you know, not the most sensitive. No.
And they went back to that toothpaste joke a little too much.
Only in 1984 could your dad be an unsuccessful inventor, and you still have an entire house.
Well, remember they said that kid working at the bank was basically supplementing everyone's income.
But he couldn't have been doing that forever.
No.
So I mean, how is this guy making any money? I mean, he's spending top dollar on these creatures. Give me $100.
200 bones. Like it was nothing. I was like, damn, where's this guy getting all this money? He's like, hey, my son's a banker. He makes a lot of money.
Yeah, he's fucking. The next scene should have been him asking for another loan.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of famous 80s kind of up and coming.
There are.
We got Judge Reinhold from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and also, what's her name? Kate. I'm going to forget her name. Oh, Phoebe Cates, who's also from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She's a fucking bombshell. But she plays the love interest in this. The girl has like 5 jobs.
Yeah, I know.
Everywhere they go, she's
working at a new place.
But so there's a lot of young faces in this. But it works perfectly out. You know, I think it works that it's people you don't really know too well,
Right?
Because it makes them feel like young kids in there. But yeah, just young innocent kids. Phoebe Cates delivers one of the funniest fucking speeches in any movie when she's talking about how she found out Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Brutal.
And if
initially
it's
they
so
wanted to
perfect,
pull that out
if
of the
it's
film.
so perfect for the film, though, yeah, Spielberg wanted to.
Yep.
He said it was too dark, but this film, it's that perfect amalgam of it being dark and still very light. And that speech comes out of fucking nowhere.
It does.
And at first you're like, all right, but then it's the weirdest. It's deadpan delivered. Not
Yep.
And basically, if you haven't seen it, the speech along the lines of they were all getting ready for like a Christmas like event or whatever, and Santa was coming down, and he slipped, broke
his neck,
fell on his neck.
Yeah.
And that's the year she found out Santa Claus.
And he still had all the presents and everything in the chimney.
The speech comes out of nowhere. It's just fucking out of nowhere, and it's so bizarre. And the main character, Zach Galligan, he's just like, oh, okay.
Thanks for letting me know.
He's like, we actually got other things to deal with.
Yeah. Actually, we have 500 gremlins running around
but
this
we'll
town.
definitely get back to that because
we'll
that's
revisit
years of therapy you need to go to. That girl is fucked up.
Yo, absolutely. I mean, still to this day, not loving Christmas because of that.
Well, that's more
go
of
see
like,
a psychiatrist.
You see anyone die in front of you, you should go get help. But seeing Santa Claus. But yeah, it's why I love it. The writing is really good. Chris Columbus knocked it out of the park with this one.
And the Gremlins looked amazing too, and it's puppet work too,
And
they
that's
looked awesome.
exactly why it holds up so long.
Yes.
Because if this was, I mean, it'd be impossible. But if this was shitty CGI, it just wouldn't. I can't watch. I can't
couldn't
watch
do it.
bad CGI. No matter how good the film is, I can't watch bad.
I would
CGI.
rather watch puppets like this, even in today, than to have shitty CGI.
Well, do you know what they really want? They originally want to do instead of puppets?
Monkeys that wore masks, but the monkeys were freaking out because they had to wear gremlin masks.
Shit.
I know.
If the 80s wasn't so fueled by fucking cocaine, this idea would seem
they're
wild.
Bro, they're all in a boardroom doing coke. He's like,
Listen to this.
We use fucking monkeys.
Listen to this. I just got a spider monkey. I just picked it up from some fucking guy in Brazil. I get this spider monkey down here in 15 fucking minutes. Okay.
Right, okay.
I also got this fucking Halloween mask. We're going to throw it on the spider monkey. This thing's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to look real. It's going to look fucking real. And they do it. The monkey shits everywhere, destroys Joe Dante's office.
Yep. And they said, you know what? Lay off the coke, Joe.
Yeah,
Okay.
and don't give the monkey coke before you come in here either.
Not wise. Not wise.
Not smart, but yeah. A monkey in a mask, has that ever been done? It's wild. It's
No,
just
it doesn't
insane.
work. It's a monkey. It's
wild
a wild
animals.
animal. Yeah, exactly. I mean, goodness gracious. Common sense.
So I'm glad they went with puppets / there's some stop motion in there as well. But it all looks great, you know. Yep. It really fucking holds up. And I heard making these gremlins, you know, these hundreds of gremlins work every day was a fucking nightmare. I heard there's so much downtime on the set because they couldn't. Gizmo was the real problem.
Yeah, Gizmo was the worst problem. They added that dart throwing scene because they hated Gizmo so much, and they literally made a list on set.
Well, they were constantly
Ways to
doing
kill.
rewrites. Chris Columbus did like 3 drafts of this, and then they were rewriting on set as they were going. Yep. So originally, Gizmo was only supposed to be in the first half, but then Spielberg was like, "No, you got to make him the hero." You know, again, you got to root for someone. So they had to keep him going the entire time. That's why in the second half, there's basically only reaction shots from Gizmo. You don't see a lot of action shots with him.
One of the weirdest things about this film, though, obviously we know this film came out in 1984, the same year. It actually came out on the same day as Ghostbusters, and then also the same year as Indiana Jones,
Which is another
Temple of Doom.
coke-fueled idea, because this film was supposed to come out in December, but they wanted to compete with Indiana Jones.
Right, so this film was released in
I don't know
June.
when that changed, but these days, if something huge is coming out, you usually don't want to compete with it.
No.
Especially what was that, the third or the second Indiana Jones film?
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah. So the ball's on these guys.
Well, I don't understand why you would release a Christmas movie in June.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's like releasing a Halloween movie in fucking June. It drives me insane.
No.
But yeah, well, they had to, because they had to rush it. They had to which it ended up working out. It was the third highest grossing film, fourth highest grossing film. Yeah,
made $212 million on a $11 million budget.
Yeah, and that was going against Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep,
one of the greatest comedies.
Hilarious.
Ghostbusters, which is one of the greatest comedies, and Temple of Doom, which was not as successful as the other ones, but still did very, very well on the box office.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's a good year, 1984.
I'd say so.
And that's a good week. Also, if you could go see a back-to-back feature of Indiana Jones and the Gremlins. But yeah, they rushed it just to compete with it. We got to talk about the voice of Gizmo was done by Howie Mandel himself. Could you believe it? He did a lot of voice work, though.
He did.
Early on in his career. But yeah, what a job. What does Gizmo say? Like 3 things?
I think so.
He never says words. He only makes sounds. So what a job for Howie Mandel. Making a lot of money. Doing great. What other scenes do you... Oh, another scene that always scared me was a scene with the teacher. That's a straight up horror scene.
That is a horror scene.
There's no lightness at all in that scene.
No.
When he's first trying to test... It's not Stripe. I can't remember. It's some other fucking gremlin that he's trying to test.
The test one that he gave to him.
That was a scene that was supposed to be much darker. He was supposed to get impaled by needles.
Oh.
By dying, impaled in his face.
How many needles do you have in a middle school? That's what I want to know, right?
Remember, 1984.
That's true.
A lot of these
True,
middle school
gotta keep that-
chemistry teachers were making meth.
They were on the side.
Yeah, so you have to remember that. Not a lot of regulation.
Right.
So, but they end up changing it to where he only gets 1 needle in the butt. So that's kind of fun. But I would like the 50 needles in the face.
His face and his eyes
Would've
wide
been
open.
so dark.
Yeah.
Would have been fucking dark. But I love that scene, and I love the scene when the gremlin jumps into the fucking water. And
That's what I was going to talk about.
Cool effect.
It looks really awesome.
Really good. Yeah, with the green lights
It's funny.
and
I was
shit.
just about to bring that up. That was one of my favorite because it looks really, really good, and it looks like something's literally being made in the giant YMCA
And again, it's
pool.
scary.
It is very scary.
It's scary. And then the next scene is them walking down the street, and it's fucking
Chaos.
1,000 of them. Just
And they're just causing all sorts of mayhem. I love the scene, too, when that broad, that fucking bitch in this movie, gets flung out of her house.
Oh,
Not to make me feel better.
Yeah, she's like a wicked witch of the West.
Well-
almost exactly, because she gets attacked by the dog early on.
Well, I think in any other society, in today's society, if someone comes up to you and literally threatens your dog, I'm going to roast your dog alive in my dryer.
Remember, though, the dog
Rod.
destroyed her imported Bavarian.
Snowman.
That thing was big money. And don't forget, she owned the town.
Yeah.
That's the big thing in 1984. You could have that
You
kind of
owned it,
power.
yeah, if you own a town,
Remember,
you own
she was
everything.
married to the guy that owned the bank, and remember, like the poor lady and the orphans.
She always
There
just
was
cut everyone.
Please, ma'am, just another 2 weeks. She said no. She called them freeloaders. They're
did?
8 years old.
I know.
I think every 8-year-old is a freeloader.
Terrible human being. She got exactly what she deserved, but dude, she was hauling ass up that thing.
She did get mauled by the dog, though. That dog did sink fucking teeth in her.
Okay, so can I? Let's look at this from the dog's perspective. If you're under a counter,
Should not have been there in the first place.
no, should not have been in that. I will agree on. Okay,
not
we're in a
taken-
bank. All right, what are you doing, tying your? Come on, I mean, show a little professionalism.
Again, 1984.
So again,
Different time.
1984.
Different.
But if I heard some lady come in and threaten to throw me in a dryer until I cook alive,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite the lady's arm. He had every right. He has to defend
It's a very
himself.
cruel.
We live in
you're
a country
assuming, assuming dogs
with laws.
are understanding and are aware of themselves, which would be under breaking.
It would be a breakout.
Groundbreaking
But
for a dog to be
also
self-aware.
talking about the same world where these gremlins speak, okay? And no one bats a fucking eye. So I think I can.
Well, the dog
jump
is
to the
too much.
conclusion
Nope. That's where I
that
draw the line.
dog understands what people are
Well, it's
saying.
such a weird threat in the first place.
Yeah,
I'm
very
gonna.
weird.
That's a sociopath kind of thing. Like she's
Yes.
clearly
Like the people
have thought
behind
about
you
it.
aren't like.
Well, one of my favorite jokes is the guy standing right here. He goes, when she goes, "I'm gonna roast your dog over an hour," and he goes, "That'll do it."
That'll do it. Yeah, that will.
The guy she cut.
Yeah.
Right, he's standing
Just still okay
right in
with
her.
it.
That'll do it. It's so funny. But yeah, very odd and very specific way
of killing a dog.
Of killing it. And yeah, she's going to eat the dog. It's worrisome. It's a red flag.
Well,
she's probably killing
was a cat
people.
lady.
She's probably killing people, killing human beings. But yeah, I'm very glad that she ended up
getting what she deserved.
Getting what she deserves, yeah.
She definitely had to be dead. Because she got full on.
Oh, she didn't make it.
No. She's not walking that one off.
And how strong are these fuckers?
And how about the cops? They just don't want to do anything in this town?
That's another thing I love is it's set up that is a very small town. And I really love that.
The cop was literally drunk. He's like, I want to drive. He's like, you're drunk.
That was hilarious.
Oh, my God.
When he first came into when Zach Galligan's character first comes into the police to tell them.
Yeah.
That was after the one jumped in the fucking pool.
YMCA pool.
He's like, yeah, it's going down. And the guy, he's like, what, are you drunk? And then the deputy's like, no, you're drunk. And he's like, yeah. He's like, what? It's so 1984.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, the cops completely. Well, when you only have two cops, it's the fucking Andy Griffith show. So.
There's no accountability.
Yeah, and they're getting drunk on the job. So it's a perfect scenario for a gremlin like disaster.
Yeah, but it's also a perfect scenario for a fender bender. It's snowing outside. You're drunk. You're going to run into someone else's car.
You are. That's very true.
It's not smart.
That's very true. I like how much more capable the gremlins are than the Mogwai. You know, Gizmo can't do anything in the fucking movie.
Do you know what that stands for?
Mogwai?
Yeah.
It stands for like creature and demon and like other things like that. Yeah. Which makes sense. But they're so cute. A lot of responsibility for sure. You thought having a dog was hard? Imagine having a list of fucking rules for this guy.
No thanks.
Yeah, and they sleep during the day too, so you can't even really play with the thing during the day.
They're like hedgehogs. They're nocturnal.
They're useless.
Yeah.
No wonder the fucking old Chinese guy had one in a crate in the back.
The blanket over it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
He's like, I'm not fucking with that thing.
Yeah.
That thing probably overthrew China at one point.
Probably
those
did.
Fuckers.
Those little gremlins. Yeah. Probably part of the old ancient Chinese
not
proverbs.
For sale. Remember?
And they needed money.
They
according
did.
to that little kid.
Yeah, well, the shop, not in the best location. No. When you got to go down the deepest, darkest alley in 1984, and it's
out of sight, out of mind.
It's chaos. There's cars. It looks like a Blade Runner.
It does. It does. It's pretty chaotic.
But yeah, but only a dad would follow just some random kid into an alley. I mean, just no problem. Most of the time, you're gonna get jumped.
Right.
It's a kid just leading you into an ambush.
Leading you on because he needs some food, some
We've
money.
seen it
himself.
100 times.
Yep.
Only a dad would be, just Christmas shopping down in this creepy fucking alley. No problem here. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love
it's a great
all that shit is funny. I think one thing is this film seems very self-aware of itself.
Yeah, and that's what I appreciate. It never takes itself too serious.
Yeah, it knows that all this shit is happening is fucking crazy. Yeah. But it just keeps upping the ante. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And they really up the ante in the Gremlins 2, The Bad Batch. Yeah, they do. Which if you haven't seen, it's fucking...
Oh, I've seen it.
So that one was supposed to be like a satire of Hollywood, like 1980s sequels. Mm-hmm. So it was supposed to be kind of this really cheesy sequel. And it just ended up being really shitty. In that one, you have like spider gremlins and you have like electricity gremlins where he's just like electric bolt, a cartoon. And you have a female gremlin in that one too. But it's horrible compared to this one. But this is one film I've always felt if they were going to reboot a really successful film, why not reboot Gremlins? It seems like one that you could just do a lot more with it. Or you could reboot or even do a sequel with it.
Yeah.
And I know like in 2019, they like redid the copyright or something for Gremlins. So that kind of gave everyone hope that there'd be a third one. But it was released just recently that it's a Gremlins cartoon coming out for HBO Max, which it's nice, but I want a third one.
Yeah.
Or even a reboot. Because I think, again, you could do a lot more with this one. And even you can reboot it. You can maybe even do it a lot darker. Because I think these days people are more acceptable to that kind of stuff. Like Krampus. Krampus is fucking violent as hell. People are dying left and right.
You said Gremlins 2 was awful. You know, Joe Dante said that he prefers The Bad Batch over this.
I don't doubt that because probably Joe Dante had a lot more creative control over Gremlins 2 than he did the first one.
Probably.
Because Spielberg. Yeah. And you know why Gremlins 2 wasn't as successful as Gremlins 1?
Because it didn't have Steven Spielberg as an executive producer.
Although Joe Dante is the director of one of my favorite good bad films, and that is Small Soldiers, another adult kids film that we will definitely do someday for a throwback theater.
I love Small Soldiers.
Love Small Soldiers, but that's another one where everyone thought it was a kids movie, and then it's basically Gremlins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, except
but with toys.
Commando style. Yeah,
but he's done that film, and he hasn't done a lot. I mean, he's done other films, but not as famous as that.
No. He did do the Twilight Zone, the movie, though. He
did a section of it because it has 4 different directors in the Twilight Zone. And Steven Spielberg was involved in that as well. But Spielberg directs a section in the Twilight Zone movie, which is another film we can do someday, but it has a very dark background.
It does. Unfortunately, there were some deaths, some tragic deaths.
Very tragic.
There's still footage of it today.
Footage you can go see the movie.
Well, yeah.
And
they
shows
kept it in the final cut, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
That's crazy.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, children died during that, too.
2 kids and the actor. Yeah. And they were breaking all the rules with child labor laws, having them too late there. They weren't supposed to be there in the first place. But it is a great film.
It is, yeah.
and that segment of the film too is the one with the racist. It's a really good fucking segment, but it's just one of those films that has a very dark background that not a lot of people talk about. But yeah, because it's tragic.
Yeah. But you could say that.
Yeah, it is. But we'll definitely have to do that. But yeah, Joe Dante, Small Soldiers, we'll have to do that one
for sure.
That's kind of Christmassy as well.
Yep. I've seen that probably 20 times.
Oh, I had it on VHS. I had the PS1 game.
My grandma had it. Every time I went over, it was my favorite movie to watch.
It's good. It's
really good.
It's a PG-13 film too. It's much older.
Mm-hmm. I think it was
Tommy Lee Jones voices the main Small Soldier. That's what makes it so good. It's perfect voice casting.
Wasn't that one of the first PG-13 Disney produced films?
Disney didn't do Small Soldiers. I think it's either Universal or Paramount.
They didn't have a hand in Small Soldiers?
No, the first PG-13 Disney film just came out. I can't remember what it was though. But no.
Why do I always go back to that? I always think Disney had a hand in Small Soldiers. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that was just me as a child thinking they did because it was toy soldiers.
Would have been way too risque for Disney. Yeah. If anything, they would have put it under Touchstone Pictures, which is their Disney.
Which is the Disney
adult. But yeah, that would have been too risky for fucking Disney. But yeah, Gremlins. Do you recommend Gremlins?
Of course. This is classic.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it yet.
You have to see Gremlins.
I don't know who hasn't, but it's one of my favorite Christmas films. And it's a film that's, some films are just set during Christmas, but I believe this is an actual Christmas film. It's got Christmas music, and it's a film that wouldn't happen if it did not take place during Christmas, had his dad not bought him the Christmas gift, Yeah. So yeah, go watch it. Check it out.
Alrighty, well, that is our review for Gremlins. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Podcast format, if you guys want to find that, you can find that Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Social media pages, Have You Seen It podcast. And if you guys want some Have You Seen It merch, you can find that link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.